David Alexander.
Let's talk about shopping carts. What does with a shopping cart when they're done with it is the truest test of the person's moral character. So what do you do? Do you take it back to the cart corral? Do you take it all the way back into the store? Or do you leave it in place in the parking lot when you're done with it? Shopping carts was one of the topics that was discussed at one of the most recent of the interfaith panel discussions that I participated in. These are events put on by the Prince George's County Office of Human Rights, where they bring together some people from different religious faiths to talk about some topic of interest. I have been privileged to be involved in 2 of these in the last year. The first one was in June of last year, and it talked about how different faith traditions regard pilgrimage. The more recent one, in February, was about how different faiths encourage their members to participate in small acts of kindness. Now, let me be clear. I have absolutely no qualifications, whatever, to be involved in putting on any kind of an interfaith panel discussion. I have never taken a class in ethical or moral philosophy, and my formal religious education ended 55 years ago when I stopped going to Sunday school. But I am a Toastmaster. And as a Toastmaster, I have developed a really dangerous habit of saying, hey, that looks fun. Hand me the mic. I can do this. So how did I get involved in these 2 projects? What attracted me to them? The one on pilgrimage is because it's about travel. I love to travel, and if I can't be traveling all the time, the next best thing is to hear about other people's travels. I was hearing about walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain, about performing the Hajj in Mecca, about visiting the Golden Temple in Amritsar, India. It was an amazing event. The second one was a little different. I got involved with that because I felt it was timely. I felt that small acts of kindness presentation, too many people feel that our society is on a trajectory that they're disheartened by, and they want to do something. They want to do something to fix it. They want to do something big. I hope that this event would help people realize that there are small acts of kindness which maybe if enough people did them would add up to something big. Now, how did I use my Toastmasters skills? Well, for the first one, the one on pilgrimage, all I did was offer to give the opening remarks. Nothing hard here. I just welcomed the audience. I thanked the panelists. I introduced the panelists. I said a few words about how I got interested in the subject, and I said a little bit more about what I hoped would come out of it, what I hoped to learn from it. And then I sat down and I listened. Yeah, that was so easy. The second one, I took on a much more difficult role, and that was as moderator. Not just asking the questions, but coming up with the questions. It was hard. I spent every minute of that hour and a half that I wasn't actually asking a question, sitting there, looking at my questions, deciding this question's no good. Deciding, oh, here's a new question I could ask. Deciding that question was actually no good either. Rewriting and rewriting and rewriting all my questions, and then watching the clock and saying, I don't have enough questions to last an hour and a half. Can I go to the audience yet? But I did come up with some interesting questions. I asked the obvious question, how does your faith tradition tell you about to do with small acts of kindness? I asked, what do you do about small acts of kindness for people who are not of your faith or who see the world very differently from you? What do you do about encouraging people to accept small acts of kindness? And then we talked about shopping carts. because shopping carts are an example of small acts of kindness for people that you will never actually come face to face with, which is a very different kind of thing. And then I asked a question about empathy and how that informs small acts of kindness. Now, empathy is also related to shopping carts, it turns out. Now, I'm going to be a little more serious here and say that I believe that empathy really is one of the true tests of moral character, a person's capacity for empathy. And it comes to me with shopping carts because I have a car. My car has dings, little dents, not really noticeable, but just about the right size and height to be caused by a shopping cart. And so every time I go to the grocery store, I think to myself, I don't ever want to be the guy that causes somebody else to have one of those dings because I was too lazy to put my shopping cart away. And so it always gives me just enough energy to get that shopping cart and put it back in the corral. So we had a good talk about empathy, but then it didn't feel like enough. It was only the last 15 minutes or so of the event, and I wanted to talk about it more. I think it should actually be another interfaith panel discussion, and I think I'm going to actually propose that. And I hope that all of you will find the time to come to it. We can all talk about how we can use empathy to save the world. We might not get it completely figured out in an hour and a half, but at least we'll be able to agree to put our shopping carts away. Madam Contest Master.